after a night of fierce battle, the air in Canaan still carried the lingering scent of blood. Joshua stood on a low hill, gazing at the heavily guarded city of Jericho ahead. A soldier beside him quietly asked, "The walls of the city are so high, can we really take it down?" Joshua closed his eyes, recalling God's instructions, "I will deliver Jericho into your hands." He firmly raised his staff, opened his eyes, and shouted to the soldiers, "God is with us. No matter how strong the enemy is, we will not retreat. Today, we fight for God. God will perform a miracle, and the strong wall will collapse before us." Hearing this, the soldiers' hearts were filled with courage. They gripped their weapons, and their eyes gleamed with determination. Under Joshua's leadership, the soldiers approached Jericho step by step, silently preparing for the challenge ahead. When they reached the city, Joshua did not immediately attack. Instead, he led the soldiers and priests to quietly walk around the city. They said nothing, walking silently around it, with only the sound of the priests blowing the trumpets echoing in the air. On the second day, and the third, every morning, the Israelites would walk around the city and then quietly return to camp. Finally, on the seventh day, Joshua led the soldiers around the city 7 times. When the final circle ended, he gave a loud command. The priests blew the trumpets, and all the soldiers shouted with deafening voices, echoing in the air. The strong walls of Jericho began to tremble at their shouting, then suddenly collapsed. The hard stones cracked open. The walls split into pieces and fell to the ground. The defenses of Jericho collapsed instantly, and the Israeli army rushed into the city, easily capturing Jericho. After capturing Jericho, the Israelites quickly attacked the city of Ai. But this time, the Israelites suffered heavy losses. Joshua was confused by this and sought God's guidance. God told Joshua that someone in the army had stolen from the spoils of Jericho, violating God's command. Joshua quickly found the soldier, Achan, who had stolen the spoils. Achan admitted to stealing a beautiful robe, some silver and gold. To appease God's anger, Joshua and the people stoned Achan and his family to death, then burned everything they owned. Afterward, Joshua devised a strategy. He sent some soldiers to pretend to attack from the front and feign retreat to lure the enemy out, while another group of soldiers, hidden behind, seized the opportunity to enter the empty city of Ai and set it on fire. With the fall of both Jericho and Ai, the other kings of Canaan were greatly frightened, and the situation became even more tense. The Gibeonites, living near Gilgal, hearing of Israel's victories, felt a deep sense of crisis and feared they would be the next target. To protect themselves, they wore old clothes and carried moldy food, pretending to come from a distant land, tricking the Israelites into trusting them and forming a peace treaty. The news of the peace treaty between the Gibeonites and Israelites enraged the 5 Amorite kings, who decided to unite and attack Gibeon. The Gibeonites quickly sought Joshua's help. Joshua quickly set out and reached Gibeon. God promised to be with the Israelites, strengthening their morale. God sent large hailstones from the sky, fiercely striking the Amorite army and causing great damage to the enemy. After a day of fierce battle, as dusk approached and the sun was about to set, Joshua feared that the enemy would escape in the darkness, preventing them from consolidating their victory. So Joshua prayed to God, asking him to make the sun stand still over Gibeon. God granted Joshua's request. The sun stayed in the sky for about a day, giving the Israelites enough time to chase and completely defeat the united Amorite forces. After several more years of warfare, the Israelites finally conquered most of Canaan and successfully claimed the land that God had promised them.